Did you know there's a factory that once produced dolls with real names sewn into them? Not brand names, not toy company logos, but actual human names, names of children, names of people who, according to some, were never seen again. This is the story of the doll factory map. It begins, like all strange stories do, with a rumor. For years, urban explorers and conspiracy theorists whispered about a factory in the American Midwest, hidden away in a dying industrial town. The building had no signs, no records, no address you could look up. But every so often, someone would claim to have found a map, a torn scrap of parchment, a blueprint, or a diagram stuffed in an attic or slipped between the pages of an old library book. The map always pointed to the same place, an abandoned doll factory. But here's the detail that chilled people the most. According to those who claimed to visit it, the dolls weren't just ordinary toys. Each one had a name stitched inside its chest, in threads so small you'd have to tear the doll open to see it. And every name matched a missing person. Imagine it, you're walking down a dusty corridor. The walls are lined with peeling paint, the floor littered with scraps of broken porcelain. The smell of mildew and rot clings to your throat. Then, in the silence, you hear it, the faint sound of a music box. You follow the sound to a long room filled with shelves, and there, on every shelf, sit dolls, hundreds of them. Their glass eyes catch the dim light of your flashlight. Their faces, cracked but smiling, their dresses, faded but intact. And when you pick one up, it feels heavier than a toy should. You tear the seam. Inside the stuffing, you find a strip of cloth. A name, hand-stitched, Evelyn Carter, 1979. Aaron Lee, 1986. Clara Johnson, 1991. All names that appear in missing persons records. Some say the factory was originally built in the 1920s, during the golden age of American industry. On the surface, it was just another toy plant, one of dozens across the country. But beneath the surface, darker things were happening. Old workers, those who survived into old age, claimed the factory never advertised, never shipped products to stores. The dolls were not for sale, they were for something else. There's even a legend about the owner, a man no one ever photographed, whose name doesn't appear in any business registries. Locals only called him the Dollmaker. They said he had a fascination with children, not in a playful, innocent sense. No, in an obsessive, unsettling way. He believed that dolls weren't toys, but vessels, shells that could house a soul, and he wanted to fill them. What makes this story so terrifying in just the dolls themselves? It's the map. The doll factory map ain't one single piece of paper. It exists in fragments, scattered like breadcrumbs. Some people claim to have found it in old boxes at estate sales. Others say it shows up in archives where it shouldn't exist, slipped into school yearbooks, old newspapers, or even funeral programs. And here's the strangest part. No two maps are the same. Some are floor plans of a building. Others are crude drawings of a road leading into the woods. A few are nothing but coordinates, scrawled in shaky handwriting. But when pieced together, the fragments supposedly lead to the same location, a boarded-up factory at the edge of a river, surrounded by dead trees and broken fences. A place that doesn't show up on official maps. One urban explorer, a man known only by his online alias, Rust Belt Dreams, posted photos of the site in 2009. The photos showed rusted machinery, conveyor belts, and piles of fabric scraps. But the most disturbing image was of a single doll. It sat upright in the middle of the factory floor, perfectly clean despite the filth around it. Its porcelain face was uncracked, its dress was untouched by dust, and pinned to its chest was a strip of cloth. The cloth bore a name. That name matched a girl who had gone missing 3 months earlier. After those photos circulated online, the factory was vandalized, broken in two, and eventually sealed off by local authorities. Officially, they claimed it was condemned for safety reasons, but some believe it was closed to keep people from discovering the truth. because there's a detail the authorities never explained. When they searched the factory, they reported finding over 300 dolls, each one with a different name. And when journalists tried to cross-check the names, they discovered dozens matched unsolved disappearances. Children, teens, even adults who had vanished without a trace. Skeptics, of course, call it an elaborate hoax. They say the names could have been stitched in later, that it was the work of pranksters or attention seekers, that no factory like this ever truly existed. But, if that's true, why did so many different maps appear in so many unrelated places? Why did the dolls stop showing up after the building was sealed? And why, to this day, does no one know who the Dollmaker was? Some versions of the story get even darker. They say the dolls weren't just symbols of missing people, they were the missing people. That somehow, through ritual or obsession or something far worse, the Dollmaker managed to trap their souls inside porcelain shells. That's why the dolls feel heavy. That's why their eyes seem to follow you. That's why, late at night, some visitors reported hearing whispers in the factory, voices of children calling for help. One man, who claimed to have taken a doll home, reported that every night the doll shifted position, first sitting upright, then lying on its side, then standing near the edge of a shelf. After a week, he found it on the floor beside his bed, and the strip of cloth inside, it had his name stitched into it. The story doesn't end with the factory's closure. Even today, strange incidents still surface. In 2017, a woman in Ohio found an old doll inside a sealed trunk in her grandmother's attic. It was beautiful, dressed in lace, its hair carefully combed. When she cut it open, she found a name inside. The name matched her uncle, who had disappeared as a boy in 1954. So, what exactly was the doll factory map? Was it just a creepy urban legend, a stitched-together myth designed to scare? Or was it something far more sinister, a breadcrumb trail left behind by victims, guiding the curious back to the place where their souls were trapped? No one knows for sure, but one thing is certain: dolls have always been more than toys. They've been vessels of memory, tokens of comfort, and sometimes harbingers of horror. And if you ever come across a doll that feels heavier than it should, whatever you do, don't open it, because if the stories are true, the name you'll find inside may be your own.